While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Magic, the podcast where we talk about AI, technology, gaming, spatial computing, hardware in the military, and everything in between. I'm your host, Cathy Hackl, and I am joined, as usual, by my co-host, Lee Kebler. Lee, how are you doing?
The world's gone crazy.
Crazy. Totally crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy. I can't. I can't. I went a little crazy last week. Do you want me to tell you why?
What's going on? You're in town for a very short period of time, but next episode, I'm really excited about next episode because we will be live together.
Together for the first time.
I think it's the first time.
We know each other, y'all, but it's the first time recording live together.
Yeah, in the same studio, face to face.
Face to face. That's going to be super interesting.
Yeah.
With the first of many, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
We should take this thing on a tour.
I agree.
Yeah, if anyone wants us to come to their city or you can invite us to an event, let us know. We'll come.
Yeah. Well, after today's episode, they might not call us. We got some crazy news.
I think they will. I think they'll find it very interesting.
Okay, so tell me about your week.
Okay, well, I'll tell you where I'm heading to and then why I went a little crazy this last week. So I am flying out tomorrow. We're recording on Sunday. We usually record on Monday, but I'm flying out on Monday to Santiago, Chile for the Singularity University Summit in Chile. So Barbara and the team over there, thank you for inviting me. I'm going to be doing a talk on spatial computing and immersive experiences, and then also doing a second talk. Actually, I'm on a panel on AI, blockchain, and the future of currency, and also doing a talk on the future of love and relationships. So it's going to be jam-packed, lots of stuff. Very excited to be there. I'm going to be also meeting a humanoid robot called Ria, who trains doctors in India. So I'm looking forward to one more humanoid robot that I'm going to meet. And then the cool part is they're going to take us to the Atacama Desert in Chile. So the Atacama Desert is the driest place on Earth. So I'm excited. I'm not sure what to expect. It's supposed to be one of the best places in the world for stargazing.
It is, yes.
Yeah. So I am very excited about that. I think that's going to be kind of one of those things where you see the world in a completely different way. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see. I'm very excited to have that experience. I don't even know what to pack. I don't know what to wear to the Atacama Desert.
Moisturizer?
It is very dry. A water bottle.
Water bottles.
Water bottle will get. But okay, so I shared with you earlier today my vibe coding powers.
Yeah, Cathy got into vibe coding out of nowhere and is just like, here, try my app. Now, here's the thing. I cannot tell you how many people in the last week have sent me their games to test out that have all been... You are at the end of a very long line of people who've just come out of... AI is changing how simple apps are built in a very significant, but not yet realized on a mass scale platform. Ugh, it's weird. It's
weird, right?
Yeah.
But mine was one of the better ones, of course. One of the better ones you got sent.
I can't say they're all beautiful. They're all beautiful.
Come on. Yes. Okay, well, whatever. So, I mean, I had already been doing some vibe coding, for websites and stuff like that. But this time I was actually channeling my inner broken heart of sorts. So long story short, I ended up going to one of these on Facebook, there's these groups called Are We Dating the Same Guy?
Oh, gosh.
They're local groups where women post about men they might be meeting on the apps, and if anyone has a red flag or tea. And I don't know why, but the man I had broken up with, I was like, let me look him up. Well, turns out that person was all over different multiple groups in the DC area. And I was kind of a little in shock.
As one probably would be.
One would be. If you see that person, you're like, okay, whoa. So yeah, it was pretty shocking. So what I did is, in order to manage all those emotions, instead of posting or doing anything in those groups, I decided to use those powers to create.
Okay, I'm going to jump to the punchline here. You gamified your breakup is what you did.
My breakup, I sure did using AI. So what I did is I ended up creating a game called, I'm still working on the name, okay?
Whack-a-fool.
Whack-a-fool. Let's call it Whack-a-fool for, I'm not going to name the person, but Whack-a-fool. And yeah, it is a super fun little whack-a-mole kind of game.
I tested it. It worked. It actually worked. It had graphics. It had funny little tidbits of where things went wrong.
You're like, oh, he said this, he said that. So it was fun. I channeled I gamified my breakup using AI and creating this experience. It actually felt very cathartic. A really good way to use AI to channel that. I also use Google VO3, and we're going to talk about that, to create some videos about a woman that finds out some not great things about the person she dated, and she uses them to become more successful. So yeah, I created my own little videos. I'm still working on those prompts. I feel like with VO3, I'm like, the more I do it, the better I get, just like with Lovable. So yeah, I am like super hyper. And this is the funny thing. I shared that game with like a few close friends that are not in the tech space, and they all played it. And they were all like, man, next time this time I break up or something, I want to be able to use AI to channel that. Because it felt empowering, to be honest. It felt empowering. Instead of like sulking or like posting in these groups, I was like, okay, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to build this fun little thing and put it all, empower myself in some ways, right?
Now, hold on. Let me find my wet blanket. I put it somewhere here.
Oh. Yeah, you should feel bad about me.
No. Okay. I hear you.
Oh, okay. What are we going to say, Lee Kebler?
I hear you, but as an elder millennial,
as am I, an elder millennial,
as you are, we were the generation that was taught, don't put your information online, don't talk to strangers online. And our parents, they forgot they taught us that lesson, right? Like they're putting it all online.
Oh, yeah. Grandpa's putting all pictures of grandbabies and everything. Right?
Yes. And everyone younger is just like, we were born with it. So of course they put it all online. So like, I'm still kind of stuck in my old early 2000s ways where I'm just like, do you want to is AI a safe place
to channel that?
Channeling this. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it was a good place to channel that emotion at the moment. That other than, I will say this. As a tech person, I do feel upset at myself, not at the use of AI, because I didn't go there sooner. I could have saved myself many months.
Oh, yeah.
Months. If I had why didn't I even think about it? Why? If I knew that that's what a lot of women do, why didn't I even go to the groups and look that person up before? I don't know.
And I think it's a good use case of that technology. Let me be clear, because basically what you did was you Glassdoored this dude. Glassdoor does a very similar thing.
Well, I haven't disclosed anything. I haven't emotionally, I've Glassdoored him.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's kind of what.
But I've Glassdoored that dude. Yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. For those who don't know what Glassdoor is, which would shock me if you're listening to this podcast and don't know what Glassdoor is, welcome to the show. It is a site that you can use to figure out reviews from people who've worked at companies that you're applying for or you're about to start for. So you can kind of figure out because let's just face it, right now in today's day and age, if you're getting hired for a job, it's because something's broken, right? That's just the way it is. It's better to utilize these systems to find out what you're getting yourself into, but to re-strategize that type of concept, which I'm a big fan of Glassdoor and what they do, and putting into the dating realm is diabolical, genius. I mean that in a positive way. That is interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
So yeah, it took my vibe coding to the next level.
And to get back to the vibe coding side of it, for those who aren't sure what that term means, it means someone who doesn't have a strong background in hard code development, right? Obviously you've been in the tech space for ages. Yeah. That's what you're known for.
And I can build in Unity and I can do things, but I'm not a hardcore developer. I have some technical skills, but not
And truthfully, launching an app from end to deployment is very difficult, and rarely can a singular developer do it. It can be done, but I'm saying it's pretty rare when you find someone who's able to actually get a web app up and running.
Yeah, fully, completely themselves. I agree.
Yeah, by themselves. So the fact that anything can be deployed this way by a singular person who might not have a development background. I've got a good friend of mine sent me a vibe coded app that I honestly just shocked at how good it is. I've gotten 2 this week other than yours. So I've gotten 3 in total. And all 3 of them, very interesting. All 3 of them from people who don't have a strong development background. One was a fitness app that was put together and somehow leveraged the cameras built into the phones, completely 100% vibe coded. Again, let me
I
clarify.
wonder how they cracked that.
They were able to do it with ChatGPT.
Was it an iPhone or Android? Were they cracking?
It's a web app. It can either one.
Web app, and it utilizes the cameras? Ooh.
It utilizes the cameras and counts push-ups.
So it's tracking your body?
Yeah, so it's actually tracking your body.
That's fantastic.
And it's 100% vibe-coded launched web app that has leaderboards and everything.
Love it. Wow.
Now, he's been working on this for like the better part of a month, but he doesn't have a development background.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, but it was, wow.
Now, the one I really liked is a movie emoji. I love this app.
Like in movies?
Like movies.
Oh, how
but
fun.
It's a game. And so two people can play, and you basically are sending like movie titles back and forth, utilizing like emojis back and forth and competing and stuff like that. And I got to play with that for a little bit. And I was like, dude, I love this.
Oh, that's super fun. I want to do that. Yeah, mine was more out of like me channeling my inner, he'll have no fear, like a woman scorn kind of situation.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Yeah. I'm so torn on the subject. I'm friends with so many developers, as a developer myself, who are like, oh, this is good. We're all using it. Let's just be very clear.
Yeah, we're all using it.
But let's jump into one of our stories.
Well, hold on. I will say what AI allowed me to do is have a healthy creative outlet for that anger. So in that sense, like I am so appreciative that I was able to do that. I could journal. I could do many other things, but it actually allowed me to do something that uses my tech powers.
Oh, I think everyone should play with it. Okay, as a developer, I can develop some of the apps that I need. I work in the audio industry. I need to do a lot of like audio conversion of format files. Very boring stuff. Now, I could program a script that does this, or I could go pay $10 and download someone else's who's already done this. But I just simply told ChatGPT, hey, I need to write a script that'll run on my Mac OS that will convert a file full of audio files into one format. And it just spit out the code. I can drop it into the code terminal and boom, it runs. I could write that, but it would take me hours and like testing and back and forth. And this was just way faster. And I threw the app away because I only needed it once.
Did it have any bugs? Like, did you have to?
No.
No
It
bugs.
downloaded the necessary libraries and everything. Now,
okay.
Granted, it's a one use case application. And I think that that's where things stand really good with like leveraging ChatGPT or similar like systems to create vibe coding solutions. When you start trying to get into like full-fledged stuff, and this is where I do think there's some validity and some value here, it does kind of force you to read the code, look for bugs, and be like, hey, this doesn't work. So you may not have a background in coding, but by the time you're done with it, you're kind of forced to understand it. Yeah. Which is, it's almost like immersion, like language, but for code. If you're just going to like interact with a ChatGPT or an AI to get like some type of app created. Now, the downside, you start looking at, this is the article that I wanted to jump into.
Let's go.
Business Insider, who we have used many times.
Yeah.
So they're one of the new companies that are coming out and saying, you know what, we're going to just like lay off.
Was it 21%
of their staff going all in on AI. The statistic that they gave was 70% of Business Insider employees are already using enterprise ChatGPT regularly. And Business Insider's goal is to get that up to 100%. That scares me. Like, that worries me. I've seen enough articles, and I'm not just calling out Business Insider, I'm calling out the whole industry. I've seen enough of these news articles come out where I can read it and be like, this is not well written. This feels like AI wrote it, or I can tell that there's bad information in this. Not quite hallucinations, but bad enough to be like, this isn't exactly correct. I normally notice it in local news.
Oh, wow. Well, I used to write for local news.
I see it a lot.
I used to have to write for local news for TV. And when you're writing for live TV, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you make a mistake, it's really obvious.
Yeah. And then a lot of that stuff starts as print. So you see the print stuff during the day and it's coming from like a local news source and it just doesn't have the same editorial.
I think it's also because locally they have so much less resources, right?
Right. And they're just trying to save as much money as they can.
That saddens me. As a former journalist many lives ago.
Yeah. It's a little worrisome to see that break into journalism. And I'm seeing people kind of like, it's not vibe coding, but put together podcasts and personality shows that are 100% AI generated. And maybe that content is or isn't correct. It's just weird.
Well, remember how you were talking last week about how the Diddy case is the one that's bringing a lot of slop, AI slop?
Yeah.
Definitely kind of noticed it too. Once I started going down that rabbit hole, like it would pop up more and I'm like, oh God, what is this? So definitely noticed that. I would say Google VO3. It's VO, right? That's how you pronounce it, VO?
Yeah, it's got to be VO. It's VEO. So yeah, VO.
If we are pronouncing it wrong, tell us, guys. But Google VO3, that's what I'm calling it. Very powerful tool. I mean, I've been using it as well. The thing is, like, there are some videos out there. There were some of the videos that were about like the fake people at Burning Man or the I'm not a prompt or I'm not your prompt or all that stuff. Very realistic looking. That was crossing the uncanny valley in such a way that left me a little cold.
You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, no, you can't. Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, you would have to kind of like be, I don't know. At this point, what is the future of people on social doing influencer stuff? What is going to happen to some of the creators on OnlyFans? Like, not that I'm too concerned, but like, I'm just thinking about a lot of these creators.
You should be concerned because when you get into that level of ability to output information, you get also into that ability to output misinformation.
Absolutely.
And it only goes, as far as I can tell, this is just reading tea leaves here, it only seems like it can go in one of two different directions. One direction is we just spiral into a pit of misinformation and it causes everyone to hate each other and we all get in fights and it's just war ensues and it just is what it is. That's what it feels like today. I don't think that's how it ends. And I don't think it ends in regulation either, as much as I do think.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely not seeing any regulation coming down the line.
I just don't see that coming.
Not currently. Yeah.
What I can see happen is people just stop.
Do people stop because human has a premium? Do people stop looking or do people stop creating?
Well, think about it like how bad misinformation grew on Facebook. Let's not mince words here. It was really bad.
And X and a lot of other platforms. Yeah, all of them, really.
And even today, an article came out that Zuckerberg flat out said, he's like, yeah, families don't connect on Facebook anymore.
It's all about messaging now. It's on the messaging apps.
Right. Like Meta's interest isn't even in Facebook anymore. It's almost a legacy software that's dragging them down than bolstering them up.
The interest is in WhatsApp, in Instagram, and kind of creating more of that messaging. And then obviously what they're doing in hardware. We're going to talk about that too.
And we're going to talk about that too. But those areas are areas that are a lot harder to influence misinformation. Not that it can't be done.
Yeah.
But when you go on Facebook and you see the amount of like AI slop now, and really the only reason I still have a Facebook account is for Marketplace. Is so I can like sell old stuff out of my house like a garage sale.
I'm keeping mine because we're dating the same guy kind of groups now. We're important for a woman that's dating.
You've got your reasons. I've got mine. Okay.
We all have our reasons. We all have our reasons. It used to be Messenger, the only reason I had it, but yeah.
But the fact of the matter is no one's actually spending the amount of time that they used to. And I think a big part of that has been proven to be the amount of misinformation that was on that platform and people just functionally gave up. So as this spirals out of control, because it will, it stands to reason that it's going to damage platforms like TikTok, like YouTube, potentially Instagram, although Instagram kind of is its own thing.
I feel like it's its own thing. I feel like I'm doubling down on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm going to be spending my time.
I think LinkedIn's going to be problematic. I don't think they're ready for it.
LinkedIn it could become problematic, especially with their push to video.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful. Because in LinkedIn, you still are who you are.
Yeah.
Who you say you are. I mean, there's still creeps. Don't get me wrong. Like I get asked out all the time on LinkedIn, or I'll get like inappropriate things on LinkedIn, which is weird to me. Like, why there? Why? Why would you do that? Like, I get it. I expect it in other platforms, but LinkedIn?
That seems a little strange. Yeah.
It's very weird. Very weird, man.
But I do think that that's what we'll see. I mean, I just think that it will force us to become more skeptical, which I honestly think humanity needs right now.
It's going to force us to become more skeptical, but is the solution the orb or whatever it's called from Sam Altman? What is it called? The world coin? The thing that scans your iris to prove that you're human? What's the name of that company?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what the name of it is.
It's an orb. It scans your iris to prove that you're a human in the age of AI. What's it called? Let me find it.
I just don't know if that's the answer because eventually all things can be faked. Like this goes down to the perfect lock, right? Well, let's go back to old technology. There's no such thing as a perfect lock. A lock is just there to stifle a person for a little while, but there is no such thing as an unpickable lock. This is true for technology as well. And if we can fake what we're faking now in 5, 10, however many years, they'll fake that type of ability to scan an iris. It's just a temporary patch.
Yeah. Just for reference, so people have the information. It's called the World Coin. It has an identity project called World ID, which uses these orbs. That's why I kept going to orb that scans your irises to verify users as humans and creating a digital ID for them. What could go wrong?
How does a person with a glass eye use it then?
They can't.
I mean,
So yeah, I'm sorry.
there's a little bit of ADA compliance problem if you must have eyes. Like,
You must have eyes.
everyone has eyes. I don't know.
This is concerning. And people get like a percentage of WorldCoin or something when they scanned it.
See, and that's where I'm just like, no, now we're creating databases.
UBI, I think this is a play on UBI for the future. I don't know. We'll have to dig into deeper. Maybe I'll go get my iris scanned. I know you won't.
I won't.
I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll do it because they have a partnership with Match. They have a partnership with Match, so maybe I should go get my iris scanned. I don't know.
I find myself feeling older every day where I'm just like, what is happening? This is all of the warning signs of every sci-fi movie I grew up with none of the hoverboards and none of the flying DeLoreans.
Yes, I want the hoverboards. I want the hoverboards.
Where
but
are we?
Where are we?
I've been having this thought though about companies like laying off people.
Yeah.
In the need to adapt AI. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, I guess, but this is a new thought that I've been having. I don't know if we have really thought through the economic theory of making this decision. So my kind of like new soapbox is this. If you take all of your lower tier employees and you replace them because AI can do it, what happens in 5 years?
Yeah.
Where are you going to pull your mid-tier or your upper tier employees from? Because
you haven't trained them. There's no institutional knowledge.
There's no institutional knowledge. It's going to be way more expensive to hire those people. They're going to be fewer and far between because how did they lead up to those positions, right? Like I started as a basic engineer and worked my way up to a studio lead and then to a company head. But I held every position in between to get there. I just don't think that these companies en masse are looking at the economic impact of 5 years from now when there's no workforce.
No. This is a short-term play for shareholder gain, like for the shareholders' gains, because at the end of the day, what is the product? Is it the news? Is it events?
Right.
And if you offload that to AI and then only AI is going to eventually read it, like if you eventually have no humans consuming that, consuming your product, then what does your product and your company even become? Right. Yeah. And that's what I say. Like when I see some of these things, I feel like that's a short-term game for the shareholders, but they're thinking next quarter, they're not thinking next quarter century. Right. What is going to happen with your company in the next 5 years? Same thing what I talk about. If AI does quote unquote replace every single job, then who's going to have disposable income to buy whatever Amazon's selling or whatever? So we're going to run out of money because no one's working, hypothetically, right? If that were the case, then and everyone's like UBI. Well, then you're not going to use UBI for disposable income to go to Hawaii. I mean, unless that's your thing. But there's this thing that keeps coming up in my head of like, how is this all going to plan out?
If you do this, you'll end up with nothing.
Well, nothing. It ends up with nothing. It's like, oh, great. We're all going to have free time. Then, but what happens with these companies and these shareholders when there's no worth? Like, what is that even worth if there's no one buying and consuming your product? What is your product? Who are you selling to?
Look, I mean, I live in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon gets a lot of jokes about everything is like free range and handmade and artisan this. And it's true. It's 100% true. We have stores for artisan socks and nothing else.
Yes.
Like, yes, we deserve those jokes. But we're going to be the last city that makes stuff. I am absolutely convinced.
You will survive because you will make stuff. There was actually a funny joke. I remember I saw it somewhere on social, which is like someone ordering at a restaurant. And they're like telling them the name of the chicken that they're eating.
Oh, yeah. That's an old Portlandia skit.
Yeah, very Portlandia. Yeah.
100% accurate. I've told people.
So Portland.
It's like Portlandia was not a comedy. It's a documentary. And if you've lived here long enough, you can accept it for what it is. It's 100% true. And I absolutely love living here because I can just go get my artisan whatever.
Go get your artisan socks.
It's going to be made by a human.
All drowned in AI slop.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's go on break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about hardware. We're going to talk about Meta and some of their new hardware admissions.
And I want to talk about Apple and gaming too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let's go on break.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
All right, Lee. So let's talk about hardware. Okay, big news that came out last week about Meta. So Mark Zuckerberg and Meta partnering with Palmer Luckey from Anduril to create AI-driven mixed reality devices for the U.S. Armed Forces. Quite a turn of events considering their relationship.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is like watching exes get back together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
It's like,
No, girl, don't go back to him.
it is really, I wasn't really expecting it, but it does, like, on paper make sense. Yeah. And I guess when you've got billions of dollars in contracts on the line, you can get over some hurt feelings.
Very much so. He's repented.
Yes, I guess that's how this is just going to plan out. So we don't know what the product is outside of that. It is for XR military contracts that we've known Palmer Luckey's company has had for a while. He'd left Meta and then he kind of kept his head down. We weren't sure what he was working on. He had done some partnerships that got into some government contracts that worked with the HoloLens with Microsoft. And this is where it gets interesting because I'm still kind of confused and I'm never going to know until, like, we finally see what comes out of it. But his company came in, took the government contracts because Microsoft didn't want to continue on the HoloLens, but Microsoft held the government contracts. So then Microsoft had to work with Palmer Luckey's company.
Anduril.
Yeah, Anduril, because Anduril's now got the XR hardware side of it, but Microsoft is somehow still involved because they held the original contract. And now we're hearing about a partnership back to Meta. Meta's got really good engineering for hardware. What they've done has absolutely been crazy. And so I would not be surprised if Meta isn't light years ahead of whatever Anduril was working on.
Yeah.
Now, go back in the time machine, back to the early days of when Palmer Luckey got purchased, Oculus got purchased by Facebook before it became Meta. And let's also remember that in that deal, they also had a partnership with Microsoft.
They did.
Yes.
You are right. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
So this trifecta keeps going in a weird circle.
Oh my gosh. It's like exes that break up and, well, get back together.
They're a throuple at this point.
It's a threesome.
Like, I don't know
Sorry,
how
people.
else. Like, this is really interesting to me. And it's all from an outsider's perspective, just watching it unfold. Because when the Oculus first came out and was commercially available, it did not ship with controllers. It shipped with an Xbox controller because they had a gaming partnership with Microsoft and with Xbox, because there was this idea that Xbox would go into this VR direction, and that didn't take place.
It didn't happen, yeah.
Then the touch controllers came out, and then Palmer left Oculus, and then Oculus turned into Meta, and now we are here, and now we're coming back full circle, but with military contracts. It's wild.
It's wild. So I'll tell you, and I've said this on the pod before, I live really close to Fort Belvoir, and that's where a lot of the project under Microsoft, I can't remember the name right now, but that's where a lot of the work happens there, at least the demos and when they're testing it, is in Fort Belvoir. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where this develops. It makes sense considering the investments that are being made here in DC, in the DC area around AI. I think this is what they consider this an AI investment. I had actually written back in like February an article saying that the US currently leads in XR and it should continue to lead in XR. So maybe they read it. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that they're going to double down on the hardware. And like I've said, for me, the moat in AI around software, it gets smaller by the day. It's hard. That's a really hard moat to keep if you're starting a company. If it comes to hardware, the moat is a lot bigger. You have a lot more territory. You can defend that a lot better.
Well,
because hardware is hard.
You sent me a very interesting article about a high-ranking person's opinion of a couple of AI pieces. You want to dive into that a little bit?
What's your take on it?
The same thing you said, which was, of course, these weren't good.
It was an article about Johnny Ive talking about why Humane and the Humane Pin and Rabbit didn't work.
Right.
I literally said, no dip, Sherlock. But yeah, which is something my kids would say. But yeah, I was like, no kidding. Granted, nothing about Johnny. I mean, he's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, yeah, this is why they failed. Absolutely. I think we all agree.
On the heels of him going into Apple AI's, or from Apple to OpenAI, and now partnering with Sam Altman, all of this happening.
Getting acquired for a crazy valuation that made him a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. Like, go Johnny. Like, if it was me, sure, I'll do it too. But
yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
But what is the product? Like, people are talking, there's like sketches that say it's going to be like a necklace. That's what I heard. So people are like assuming or presuming it could be a necklace because they want to move us away from screens. I don't know what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a family. Like I said, they mentioned this. It's going to be a family of devices. Some are going to hit, some are going to fail.
I can see wristbands, watches, glasses, earbuds, hats. If you can get it cheap enough to mass distribute, then all of a sudden you're just wearing smart clothes, which was something that we discussed back all the way in like 2015. And maybe that technology is now getting cheap enough to actually come to reality. But if it's done right, it's technology that doesn't do everything, right? Yeah. It's technology that does the thing that it should do in the product it lives in. But I don't foresee a scenario where it's just like, I'm wearing... Because the second that you give me like AI on a necklace, my brain automatically goes back to 1988, those commercials with the old lady who's fallen and can't get up. Like, that's just what I'm thinking.
They can't get up. Yeah. Yeah. Press the button. They still have those, by the way. I still watch old-timey news.
And they're necessary for a very specific population. But I don't necessarily need one.
You don't necessarily need that. It's interesting. So I was thinking a lot about this in the hardware, right? The future of this hardware, kind of what they could be doing with it. And two things came up. There's a conversation I was having with a fellow XR person. Basically, one of the things I said, it has to get close to the year. There has to be something close to the year, something, whether it's glasses, hats, jewelry, whatever it is, because what a lot of people are doing with ChatGPT is they're talking to it, right?
True.
They're talking to it. So if it has to talk to you and you have to talk to it, the closer you can get it to the ear, the easier you can do bone conduction. And that way, not everyone can necessarily hear what the AI is telling you.
But all right, let's back up for a second. Let's really think about this. Is that where you use it's? Yes, the talking mechanism is valuable. Even this week, we saw a new release from 11 Labs. They put out their new technology. It's way more conversational. It pauses when it's supposed to pause. It waits for you to respond as it's supposed to respond. It very much feels like you're talking to a more real human being. For better or for worse, it is an improvement and is getting to the point, just like VO3, where it's becoming a little uncanny, like you can talk to this thing, it can talk back to you. But is that where you actually interact most? I think it's where you interact and remember you're interacting. But there's a lot of times where I'm sitting there watching Netflix on the couch and I'm on my phone. So there's so much time where I don't want voice, or I've got my phone turned all the way down, because in 2025, you're just multitasking because Netflix in the background doesn't keep 100% of your attention, and you're talking with an AI trying to like vibe code your, or you're just like playing, I don't know, Tetris or something. I don't know.
You're trying to match on an app, but okay, I will say, and there is, to that point, Lee, there is a certain level that if everyone's talking to their AI, there's cacophony. Like everyone's like,
right, exactly.
Like, yes, like I agree with you. I do think it has to get close to the ear because you are going to want to hear what it says to you. If you're navigating, if you're walking, if you're shopping, if you're on your way somewhere, I think there is importance for it to talk to you. Yeah. Right? Maybe you not so much talking to you. You'll talk to it, but maybe when you're outside, you don't talk to it as much because everyone's talking to their AI, then it gets pretty nutty. So we'll have to see. Yeah. I agree that that's going to be a part of it. I just think I'm more on I think it needs to be visual. I'm leaning towards the glasses. I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be glasses. You need the visual, you need the optics. I mean, the optics are clear. The advantage there, what is problems it solves, puts all the data in front of me without me having to look at the phone. But then I think there's an element there of earshot and eyesight. I've always talked about earshot and eyesight. Here's another kicker. And this is what my friend said. And I was like blown away. I'd never thought about it. We were talking about Google XR. And I was like, oh my gosh, Google has Google Maps, which I'm an Apple Maps user, but Google Maps tends to be better. Let's be honest, for most people.
It is.
Another thing that Google does have in their favor is that they know a lot about you from your Gmail and your calendar. And I'm like, oof, that from an XR perspective, AI and XR perspective that knows exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going, my doctor, all these sorts of things. That's an incredible treasure trove of data.
Let me go one layer deeper. Oof. Name an XR device not running Android.
An XR device that's not running Android?
Other than Apple.
What was Magic Leap on? I mean, they had their own OS, but they're not making them anymore.
What was the underlying OS, right? Like, even if you buy a Meta Quest.
Because they had Lumen. Like, the OS for Magic Leap was Lumen, I think?
I don't know what Lumen's built on.
But still, they're out of the game. Like, they're kind of sort of out of the game from the hardware space. So, to answer your question...
I mean, all of Samsung's XR devices are going to be on Android. Yeah. All of Meta's XR devices are on Android.
Are going to be Android. Xreal, what's it called? Xreal?
Xreal is going to be on Android. Android is such a cornerstone to the XR, AR, VR, and has been for a very long time.
Maybe Barrio. Barrio's probably running on something else.
I would be curious to know what some of the Pico devices are running on. I've not used a Pico device in a very long time, and if maybe that's changed, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's Android because it's just there and it works and you can have access to it. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes where Google's involved with these things.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they don't want to be. Because they provide a curation of a software that is debatable if it's theirs or not because of Oracle, but we're here where we are. But they have a strong backbone on this. I don't think it's considered.
Well, and to that point, there is so much room. Like, there's nowhere but up that Google XR can go.
Right. I agree.
In my perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. What a great question. What a great question. What other device? I don't know. Like, other than maybe Barrio? I mean, maybe. Magic Leap's out of the game, really, from a hardware perspective. So, they're all mostly Android XR.
Yeah. And for good reason. It's a platform that's there and it works. Microsoft never really got through to the mobile game. That didn't really take place. And so they kind of have a corner on this market of an operating system you can quickly run to. I am sure that there are a number of side projects and basement companies coming up that are running on some like Linux kernel or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Now, the alternative is Apple. And Apple's trying to get into the gaming scene real hard right now.
Yes, let's talk about that. This is our last story.
Yeah, and it's two stories in one. It's very strange. Okay, so the first one is Apple purchased its first video game studio. And you'd sent me this.
I'm so excited about this purchase. I'm so excited about this acquisition. You have no idea.
Well, then how about you go ahead and talk about it?
So it's Rack 7, if I'm not wrong. The name's Rack 7 or something. They make my kid's favorite Apple arcade game called Sneaky Sasquatch, which they have been playing for years. And they still play it.
I've never heard of this game.
Oh, it is so fun. It is so fun. It's this Sasquatch that pretends to be a human and takes on all these jobs. And does stuff for
This is so problematic because I am in Portland, Oregon. I'm in the Pacific Northwest where Sasquatch lives.
Sasquatch would live in your neighborhood, yes.
And I consider myself a dedicated gamer, and I have never heard of this game.
Oh, we're big fans of that game. And actually, we've gotten other families into Apple Arcade because you have to have it because my kids love Sneaky Sasquatch and introduce their friends. And then it's like such a peaceful, like, good game. Like, yeah, there's some like, I mean, the Sasquatch can drive the car a little crazy and there's some stuff they can do, but it's like a nice game. Like, there's nothing really that you would say like, oh my gosh, like this is so bad. So for any kid, like gaming, it's a safe game. Yeah, it's a fantastic little game. We love it here. And they acquired the studio. Yeah, they acquired
Apple
that
product.
studio. And they do other Apple Arcade games. I just don't know. I'm not familiar with them. But like I said, like when I heard that, I was like, fantastic acquisition. Very smart.
Now, the follow-up to this is that Apple is trying to debut a dedicated gaming app. And it seems like they're trying to time this just days after the Switch 2's arrival, Nintendo's. I don't see this one working. I think the app will work.
Well, it depends. Depends what it is. Lee, it could be a hit.
Okay. Apple has a really historically bad track record when it comes to gaming. And it is an area that even back in the Steve Jobs days,
True.
They wanted so badly to be in the gaming arena. And I'm not going to say that they don't have a significant place in gaming. Mobile gaming exists because of the iPhone, 100%. But if they think they're going to go after market share from Nintendo or PlayStation or any other, like, they're just not the same thing.
They're not the same thing, but I think if mobile is the way to go, I mean, if people are more on mobile or people like your kid comes in like, I want the Switch 2, and like, you can't play on your phone.
It's not the same.
No, I agree with you. We're big Switch fans over here too, but I wouldn't discard it. Like, I wouldn't like discount it. Like, I think let's see what they bring to the table. Let's see what they have. Let's see.
Now, it's supposed to launch on iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple TV as its own platform.
Let's see what they bring us.
Now, I did notice that all of the devices that they mentioned, one was not mentioned.
Vision Pro.
Vision Pro is not mentioned. The one thing I would think is a gaming device.
There's so few of them, though. Like, let's be honest. Like, I've got two of them.
What?
2 of the 350,000.
I hear you. Yeah, there's so few of them, but so what? It's a flagship device made by Apple, and they're making a flagship app. And they have a large...
Maybe the game is not conducive to be played in an Apple Vision Pro.
Then do it on a flat 2D screen. That's how they've pitched all of their like connected gaming with PlayStation. I saw those pitches.
I'm defending Apple. I feel like, oh my gosh. I'm like...
No, I'm not defending...
No, I'm defending Apple. I'm like the Apple fangirl here. I'm like, no, it's okay. They can do no wrong.
I just don't understand how, okay, you're going to do this gaming, even if it's all 2D. And by 2D, I don't mean the game is 2D. I mean that the way that you experience it is 2D. Okay, still put it on the Vision Pro so that you can open it in a big 2D screen in front of you and still play it. I just don't get it. I don't get what they're doing here. I don't know what they're doing with the Vision Pro.
Well, let's see. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and let's see what happens.
That's what you do. I call questions and you're just like, oh, it'll be fine.
Usually,
you're right. You're right.
Oh my goodness. Well, wrap us up, Lee.
Real quick, before we go, we have to talk about next week.
Yes.
We are going to be at AWE in Long Beach, California, soaking up some much needed sun and hanging out with all of our AR, XR, VR friends. I've got so many people that I got to reconnect with and a lot of events that I'm working on. You're going to be there for a couple of days as well. I'm sure you've got your events that you want to highlight. But the big deal is we will be broadcasting from AWE. And we've got some huge conversations that are coming up.
Yeah.
What do you want to throw in there?
Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's like summer camp for us. Like, I feel like it's going back to summer camp.
It is.
Lots of people we know from the industry from years. I mean, because you and I have been in this for what, like over a decade?
Don't say that.
We started when we were 10. But yeah. But yeah, it's going to be really great fun. We'll be interviewing folks for the podcast. We'll be recording there. And thank you to the AWE folks for allowing us to use the podcast stage. We're very excited. So we'll let you guys know some of the amazing conversations we're going to be having there.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun show. I'm really looking forward to a couple of those interviews as well. Cathy, anything you're reading or suggesting before we sign off here?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you this. I got invited to an event on the 10th of June in New York. I'm not going to be there because I'll be at AWE, as we've talked about, but very interesting. It is called Open Debate, and the debate is on, could dating an AI be better than dating a human? That is going to be really interesting. It's, like I said, debate format. Arguing yes will be Dr. Tao Ha, Associate Professor of Psychology at Arizona State University and Director of the Heart Lab, the Healthy Expressions Across Relationships and Transitions Lab. Interesting. Arguing no will be Dr. Justin R. Garcia, Executive Director and Senior Scientist at the Kinsey Institute and Chief Scientific Advisor to Match.com. Obviously, they want people to date other people. And then Naima Raza, who is the journalist and the host of Smart Girl Dumb Questions, will be the moderator. Love Naima. She and I are part of the DLD community. Yeah, so very exciting this is going to be a really interesting debate on yes or no.
I'm weirded out that we even live in a time where this debate is occurring. I don't think I expected this particular topic to ever occur in my lifetime.
In your life. Well, I'm all about experiments. So one of the experiments, I'm getting really close to launching the tech intimacy scale that I've been mentioning, very close. But one of the experiments I'm going to be launching, and I'm going to be doing myself over the next, probably not during Chile or AWE, but afterwards, is I'm going to be dating 3 different AIs to see for a week, date 3 different AIs for a week, try to see how the experience is. And then I'm going to use the AIs to help me break up with each other. So ChatGPT will be Cad, Meta will be Mateo, and then Claude will be Claude. So yeah, I'm going to kind of do that because I'm a guinea pig. I just want to have fun with it.
You got to use Gemini as Jim.
Oh, then 4.
See,
Jim's got a yeah.
Don't forget Gemini. Poor Jim.
Poor Jim. Oh, poor Jim.
Poor Jim.
Jim might surprise me. Who knows?
You just don't know.
There'll be some really interesting videos via Vio. I don't know. So yeah, I'll use all of them I'll date 4 AIs in a week and use them to break up with each other. And then I'll report back to everyone.
Oh, wow. I can't wait for this. I'm very excited to see how this plays.
I'm really into this situation, really experimenting and figuring it out. I'm all about human nature at this point. So let's see what happens. But this will be a really interesting debate on yes and no. I still want to date humans.
So plenty of reasons for everyone to stay tuned to Tech Magic. We always invite you to come for the tech, stay for the magic, wherever it comes from. I'm Lee Kebler with the incredible Cathy Hackl. Special thanks as always to Adweek for bringing this show to you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, and how could you not, please leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to connect with you, even if you're an AI. Just search for Tech Magic Cathy Hackl or me, Lee Kebler, and you'll find us. We'll be back next week.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bullspend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Yetis, this is Nick and Jack from the Best One Yet podcast. Now, the last company we worked at, they used Paylocity and everything just worked. It wasn't until launching our own media business, this show, that we realized how rare that is.
Because Paylocity is one delicious burrito of operational needs. They roll up HR, finance, and IT seamlessly into one delicious bite.
When everything wraps together like that all at once, your workforce, your tech stack, your business, you don't need more tools. You don't even need cilantro.
You need one solution.
And that is why Paylocity built a single platform to connect HR, finance, and IT with AI-driven insights and automated workflows that simplify the complex and power what's next.
Or as we call it, a delicious operational burrito.
Yes, we do. Experience a one place for all your HCM needs, besties.
So start now at Paylocity.com/one.
Paylocity.com/ONE.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.